All right, you guys, I've got a cup of coffee. We're gonna do a sit-down chat, but you have to see this mug first. Hello, Seattle, I'm listening. So it's definitely a Fraser day for me. I've got the cozy fire going on for you. It is cold outside. You can't see Loxy, but she is directly in front of me. And it's just a sit down. I don't have any makeup on today. So you can guess by the title of this video that I'm gonna be talking about why I'm moving. I wanted to do this video because I felt like if I didn't, you guys would be very confused, especially for those of you who have been watching me for a very long time. You are on my Instagram lives, you follow my vlog channel. Then I just felt like if I didn't talk about this, you would just be like, well, what about all those other things that you wanted to do, etc., etc. So this video is talking about why I'm moving and why my decisions have changed, and then what the future goals are. So for those of you that are new to my channel, I have one daughter and she is at her freshman year in college. So originally I had envisioned myself moving out last year in 2019, directly after she graduated high school. I was just at a point in my life where I just wanted to really just get out of Dallas in general, and I wanted to move to the East Coast for several reasons. The first and most important reason is my health, and I just suffer from bronchitis, a lot of asthma due to the cold, dry air, and I have been having these issues since I was in the 7th grade, so like 13 or however old I was then. And every year it's the same thing. I've never gone a year without having these issues, and it makes sense because every year in Dallas the weather gets cold, it gets dry, and it creates this constant issue. And sometimes I relapse and it occurs again because it was never properly diagnosed, and so it just traveled into bronchitis, acute bronchitis, and all of those upper respiratory issues. I just do better. My body just thrives in humid conditions, whereas I just don't feel like I'm very compatible with the Dallas weather situation. Plus the Dallas allergies also really kill me, and sometimes that will also spark coughing and all of those respiratory things. And it's been going on for so long, like I said, since I was so young, that I eventually do need to make another state, I guess, my permanent home. But I'm not gonna be moving to the East Coast right now. So that is why we're gonna be talking about why I'm moving, and also why I'm not moving to Florida or wherever like I originally had planned. So I'm really glad that I actually didn't end up moving directly after my daughter graduated, because it would have been a very rash decision, and I think it would have put me in too much shock, even though it would have resolved a lot of my health issues. Even though it is very important, there are still other things that are, in my mind, I guess, more important. But like, what can be more important than health? But I'm not trying to really pick apart all of this really. But so let me just kind of start over and say that I'm really glad I didn't move out directly after she graduated, because it gave me this time to reflect on how I was gonna respond to her being gone. It's always been me and her. We're very real life Gilmore Girls, minus owning a hotel and Luke's diner kind of thing, but it's always been me and her, and so we've just been very closely bonded, and it was gonna be a shock for both of us. It gave me this opportunity to see how I was going to react without her, and I actually have been doing pretty good, but I do know enough now to know that being too far away from her right now is just not for me. I need to feel like I'm close to her, and that is the #1 main reason why I am not going to be moving to the East Coast right now. So now that she's going into her second semester of freshman year, in the first semester, I learned this. I learned that I just got to be close to her, and putting several states between us, I think, would have been too much for me. The second reason, which I was already struggling with when I thought that I was going to move myself completely out of state, was my niece. I love her so much I can't even describe. And I wasn't ready to be parted from her. I see her very, very often, and I'm just so lucky to have these two wonderful girls in my life, my baby girl and my brother's baby girl, and I'm just not ready for that. I was already struggling when I really thought, like I said, that I was moving out of state. It was one of those feelings where it was gnawing at me and I didn't feel good about it. Now you're probably wondering, well, what are you gonna do if you do eventually move? Well, I'm gonna take all of that one step at a time. You know, it's hard to say how I'm going to feel. It doesn't mean that I'm gonna love her less or love anyone less. It's just a matter of gauging and seeing where everything is at. So the third final reason that I've decided to still stay in Dallas is because of my daughter's college, just in-state, out-of-state tuition. And I don't want to dive into how they make up these rules for that. It really boggles my mind. But if I would have moved, my address would have been her address, and then it would have been considered out-of-state. I mean, again, I don't make up these rules, but I would think that because she was born here, she went to all schools here, that would be enough to at least consider her in-state for, like, you know, but no, it doesn't. So anyway, those were the three main reasons. I just could not be away from my daughter. I could not be away from my niece. And then when it came to in-state, out-of-state tuition and she just started college, I was just like, no, like, this isn't gonna work out. So, but I have to say that now that I finally have made a decision for myself, I feel so relieved. I feel like I've just been kind of ghosting throughout my life, if that makes sense. Almost in the sense of not having feet to really put and make steps. I think I might be confusing everyone, but it just feels like I've been not landing anywhere, making any roots. And it has really made me feel, I don't even know how to describe it. Just, yeah, I don't even know that I can describe it. So the fact that I finally was like, okay, based off of these three decisions that I now know I'm just not able to, you know, to deal with if I moved out of state, now I can finally make more permanent decisions for myself. So I am going to be staying here. But the goal while staying here is to travel more to the East Coast. That way it will actually give me somewhat the best of both worlds. Maybe I'll do it a lot more often during the colder, dry air months and see how that kind of helps my body. And then it will also give me the opportunity to spend more time in those regions and scope out different places and see if, like, can I really live here, or is this just a vacation state of mind for me? I do still feel deep down that Florida is like my dream home place. So I still really do see myself moving there eventually. It's just not in the cards right now to live there permanently. Every time I go to Florida, I'm always enchanted. I have been since the first time I went. And I'm one of those people where whenever I see something, whether it's like, I know this is gonna sound crazy because I'm gonna talk about material stuff, but whether I see a car or, you know, even when I saw Loxy for the first time, like, I just knew. And I don't know if anyone else is like this. Yeah, so anyway, whenever whenever I go to Florida, I just know. It feels like home, it feels right, and it's still the end game, but not for a while. So once I finally figured those 3 things out, I was able to make a decision, but I knew that I didn't want to live in this house. So I really only moved into this house because there's just a lot of zoning issues. And actually, if you've watched me for a while, you've seen me switch houses quite often, and it was because there was zoning problems. So 3 houses ago, you're not gonna believe this, but 3 houses ago, the dividing line for the high schools was my alley, literally. Like the people, my neighbors that I shared an alley with, but that were behind me, so like I was here and they were here and this is our alley, they were zoned for the high school that my daughter ended up going to, and we were zoned for the new high school that they threw up, which is so crazy because our house was literally right next to the high school at the time, and they zoned us for the new high school that was like 7-8 miles away. I don't know how they do that, but and I grew up where I went to school with all the kids that like I grew up with. Same elementary school, same middle school, same high school, and I really loved that about my childhood. So I knew that I wanted that same experience for my daughter, and she was really, you know, obviously attached to her friends, and I just wanted to make sure that she was going to go to the same high school. And so there were strict zoning things. I mean, you had to be zoned. There was no other exceptions made. And so we moved out of that house into the house before this one. And then they actually tried to do the same thing. They threw up another high school, but lucky for us, that high school was only putting certain grade levels, and so she was already basically like grandfathered into this last one. This doesn't make any sense. But anyway, but then we moved into this house, and really, again, it was just to kind of like keep her in the same zoning. And now that that's no longer the case, I feel so free. I mean, obviously, like I wanted her, you know, to go to the same high school, but it still felt like, okay, my options are limited because of that reason, but that reason's no longer here. And so I am going to be moving out of the area, and I know a lot of people are going to ask, when are you moving? Where are you moving? So now I know that a lot of questions are still going to be asked about, okay, so now you're not moving to Florida right away, but like, when are you moving? Where are you moving? All of those things. And a lot of that information is still being flushed out. But even if I knew like where I was going to be going, I would never release that publicly. I don't think that's a smart thing to release publicly. So I think that's something that's private to each and every person. If you decided to pick up the camera and start YouTubing, I mean, obviously it's your channel. You can do what you want. You can say what you want. But for me, I think that that's a very private matter. But anyway, I'm still flushing a lot out. The target range for me was always like March and April. I was definitely prepping for that because I didn't want to really be in this house much longer. And once I made my decision, knowing that I was going to just kind of put roots here for a little while longer, yeah, I just kind of envisioned myself leaving here, and that's what's going to be eventually happening. So a lot of that information is still being flushed out, but because I have like this target range that I'm aiming for, I wanted to go ahead and start packing, and especially because of my back, because, you know, my back was really killing me there. It started like mid-November, and it actually stopped at the end of December. I haven't had any back spasm pain, and let me tell you, it was so bad. I cried a lot. Back spasms are no joke, and they will lay you out, but they haven't come back. But I have noticed that when I pack here and there, my back starts to feel almost sore. So that's why I've just kind of started way ahead in advance, just to go easy on my back. That way I'm not waiting until like 1 or 2 weeks before of whenever I move to get everything done by myself, no, I think that would have killed me, and it would have just, yeah. So I'm really glad that I made the decision to go ahead and start little by little here and there tackling rooms that I just know I'm not going to be using. So I've been doing all of the upstairs and the craft room. So those are just the main rooms that I feel like, okay, I can go ahead and get some of this boxed up and start, you know, here and there. So anyway, that's basically it. Wrap it up in a pretty bow. I am going to be moving out of this house eventually, and I will be doing a lot of videos with packing and cleaning this house, maybe even doing like an empty tour of this house out of the move out, and then I will be doing a tour of wherever I'm going, and there's going to be a lot of decorating. So I'm very, very excited about where my channel is going to go. I feel like my main channel is going to be mostly Dollar Tree and then just lifestyle type of videos of routines and decorate with me's, all of those things that I've been loving, and that's like what I'm sharing with you. So if you're interested in that, click subscribe, stick around. There's just gonna be a lot of stuff going on in the next couple of months, and I'm gonna be very excited to share that journey with you guys. And that's it. Hopefully I feel like I answered everything. Anyways, that's basically it. I hope that you guys love the sit down chat, talk about my decisions, and yeah. Also, thank you so much for your support, for watching all of my videos, for thumbing up my videos. Is that right? Thumbing? Thumb. I don't even know, but thank you for doing that if you do. Thank you even for those of you who are just kind of silent watchers that come back and watch my videos all the time. Thank you so much. And for those of you who take the time out of your day to comment and say something nice to me, it's incredible. I've never been good at describing my feelings when it comes to this. A lot of you guys know that. And because I just can't describe what that feeling feels like, it just kind of renders me speechless, to be honest. But I am very grateful for your support and your kindness, and it carries me through on days that I don't film, on days that I have really hard days. My life is not perfect, and you don't know how your support and kindness affects me and my life away from the camera. And that's a beautiful thing, honestly. Like, I guess I don't know how else to describe it, but you affect me in so many good ways, and I'm so grateful for that. So I can't wait to share the journey. I can't wait for all of this to finally come together, and hopefully I'll see you guys there. Bye.